I would like to read this the 2nd Ezra 6:56. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Lord, O Yahweh, behold these heathen, being these Edomites, that they address as Spaniards, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. And that's exactly what you see there with those Spaniards, those Edomites, claiming as if they're the Most High with how they're going about having us serve them. So let's get back in it. It's a lot. It says total control led to total cruelty. The Edomites thought nothing of knifing the northern kingdom by 10s and 20s and of cutting slices off of them to test the sharpness of their blades. So they're just committing wickedness just cause it's really no way to explain it, you know? It just shows how evil these people are. They were legit just causing harm to Jake just for the simple fact that they just cuz. It reminds me of the scripture that says they don't go to sleep without committing wickedness. You know, and that's what it is, you know? They use Jake as a cutting board, literally. It's an account of it. It says Las Casas tells how two of these so-called Christians met two Indian boys, met two Jake boys one day, each carrying a parrot. They took the parrots and for fun beheaded the boys. The northern kingdom's attempt to defend themselves failed, and when they ran off into the hills they were found and killed. So Las Casas reports they suffered and died in the mines and other labors in desperate silence, not knowing the soul in the world to whom they could turn for help. You know, and when the account of here of them running in the mines remind me of the account of when I believe Antiochus Epiphanes was the ruler in the time. I believe this is in the Maccabees. But Antiochus Epiphanes was the ruler of the time, and I believe it was Judah Maccabees fled into the mountains they fled into the mountains just to keep the Sabbath. And the only reason that Esau has had this much power over us and has been destroying us is not because he's stronger people, but it's because we went off from the laws and the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So this was the punishment. So this is work that they had the northern kingdom doing. It says they dig, split rocks, move stones, and carry dirt on their backs to wash it in the rivers. While those who watch gold stay in the water all the time with their backs bent so constantly, which is breaking you. It breaks them, like it says. And when water invades the mines, the most arduous task of all is to dry the mines by scooping up pans full of water and throwing it outside. I want to see what that word arduous. Involving or requiring strenuous effort, difficult and tiring. It says laborious, burdensome, strenuous, vigorous, backbreaking. Slavery. I'm gonna grab a couple more points out of this article. Brothers, feel free to dig into this article and find some things. This is more breaking of, wow. This part right here is much how Esau breaks up the Israelite household now. You know, that's why the scripts say, I gotta bring it up. As I believe it's in Ecclesiastes. I gotta bring it out. Salaki. Salak. This is Ecclesiastes 1:9. It says, that thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. You know, these are common methods in which Esau used to break us, are the same methods, just improved based on the era in which we live in. It says, while the men were sent many miles away to the mines, the wives remained to work the soil. That right there in itself broke up the family, forced into the excruciating job of digging and making thousands of hills for cassava plants. Thus, this account says, thus husband and wives were together only once every 8 or 10 months. And when they met, they were so exhausted and depressed on both sides, they ceased to procreate. Meaning the line of that nation cannot be furthered. It says, as for the newly born, they died early because their mothers, overworked and famished, had no milk to nurse them. Same as Esau breaking up the Israelite household now. Kick the father out, put him on child support, or put him in jail. And now he's having cheap labor in the jail or prison. The mother is at home. If she's working, she's either working or she's on Section 8 and food stamps. So no one's really taking care of that child. So that child is becoming spiritually dead in that sense. And without a father in his life, that child then begins to fall right back into the system that was created for it. It says they died early because their mothers, overworked and famished, had no milk to nurse them. And for this reason, while I was in Cuba, 7,000 children died in 3 months. 3 months. 3 months. That's 90 days. A little over 90 days. Depending on what month Esau declared it was in this society. It says some mothers even drown their babies from sheer depression. And this way, husbands died in the mines, wives died at work, and children died for a lack of milk. Cutting off a nation. Depopulating our nation. And in a short time, this land, which was so great, so powerful and fertile, was depopulated. Not due to the fact that Jake didn't know how to cultivate the land and thrive off of the land that Yahweh Shema Shai gave him, but the fact that the devil came in and destroyed it. Such like today. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Job 9:24. My eyes have seen these acts so foreign to human nature, and now I tremble as I write, because you're seeing the effects of breaking a nation of people down. So I'm gonna go into another article. This is the New York Times. They published this February 20th of 2015. February the 20th, 2015. It says when Americans lynched Issachar, because there's just a byword that was put on us, you know, which is part of the curses. That's a lot. What's that? 36? No, it's a lot. 46. I'm gonna get into it. Which shows that every nation, every tribe out of the nation of Israel fits the curses and went through the exact same thing. You know? That's I want to get into it. It says the recent releases of a landmark report on the history of lynching in the United States is a welcome contribution to the struggle over American collective memory. Few groups have suffered more systematic mistreatment, abuse, and murder than African Americans, being the so-called Negroes. Judah, the focus of the report. One dimension of mob violence that is often overlooked, however, and when I say it's overlooked, because Gad and Reuben, they actually get killed more than Judah. Theirs just don't get televised or news coverage. It says one dimension of mob violence that is often overlooked, however, is that lynchers targeted many other racial and ethnic minorities in the United States, including Native Americans, being so-called Gad and Reuben. They say Italians and Chinese. Some of these Italians are Jake. And then it says Chinese, but especially Issachar. Americans are largely unaware that Issacharites were frequently the targets of lynch mobs. Meaning we all went through the same thing. And we constantly say that because we have to know who our enemy is. That's part of this truth. You have to know who your enemy is to look for something greater. To say that you don't want slaves in the kingdom, or to say that you don't want to see the downfall of your enemies, is to say that Esau has completely brainwashed you, stripped you of your heritage, and beat you into submission. It says Americans are largely unaware that Issacharites were frequently the targets of lynch mobs from the mid-19th century until well into the 20th century, second only to Judah. In the scale and scope of the crimes, one case largely overlooked or ignored by American journalists, Edomites, but not by the Mexican government, Issachar, was that of 7 Issacharite shepherds hanged by white Edomites vigilantes near Corpus Christi, Texas, in late November 1873. Because not all of Esau's horrific acts upon Jake were documented, you know? They want to only say a number of lynchings happened to Jake in America. Those were only the lynchings that were mentioned. You know, they didn't mention or document every lynching that happened to Jake. The mob was probably trying to intimidate the shepherd's employer into selling his land. None of the killers were arrested. And just like today, in the time of Esau killing Jake, nothing happens to him. Nothing new under the sun. It says from 1848 to 1928, mobs murdered thousands of Issacharites. Those surviving records only allows us to clearly document only 547 cases. Those are the documented. So you know it's way more than that, because not every case is documented. Much like not every news, not every killing from a police officer or an Edomite is documented on Jake, their death. It says these lynchings occurred not only in the southwestern states of Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas, but also in states far from the border like Nebraska and Wyoming. Some of these cases did appear in press accounts when reporters depicted them as violent public spectacles, as they did with many lynchings of African Americans. Judah in the South, for example, July 5th, given another account, a mob of 2,000 in Downeyville, California, watched the extra legal hanging of an Issacharite woman named Wanya Loaizi, on the name who had been accused of having murdered a white man named Frank Cannon, which we would never know to be true. But of course Esau would say she was accused. I mean, even if she was or wasn't, that's still, you know. It says more than a half century later, November 3rd, 1910, a mob snatched a 20-year-old Issacharite laborer, Antonio Rodriguez, from a jail. So this man was already in jail. The authorities had arrested him on charges that he killed a rancher's wife. It's always saying that Jake killed someone else. Mob leaders bound him to a mesquite tree, doused him with kerosene, and burned him alive, which shows you who the devil is again. The El Paso Herald reported that thousands turned out to witness the event. We found no evidence that anyone was ever arrested. Of course you're not going. Why would Esau arrest his own when they all are like-minded, you know? That's why there's no good Edomites out there. And much like this, it says thousands turned out to witness the event. You know, we just had in Vegas not too long ago, our last camp, we had a woman that came